What happened here? There we go. All right. Keep that banter up, though. Is that your tuning fork? Me.
It's good. Yeah. Where should I be at? What's enthusiastic? Where should I be at? That's it right there.
You need the pan flute?
Here I am.
It goes from Seth and Nina.
Jamie got me a
Peru.
little thing. It's a little hand piano. It's this big, and it's got 5-6 keys on it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I broke it.
Oh, that's a cool story.
Nothing else for you.
That's all I brought. Yeah. We have entered strange days. Welcome to Strange Days. I am Soulless, and I'm joined today by my buddy Brandon Smith. How you doing, bro?
I am here, and I'm a first-time listener, first-time caller.
Sorry to bother you at work.
Yeah, no, I'm very busy, but I'm here. Doing good, man. Happy to be here. I like the decor in the place.
Oh, thank you.
I just wanted to let you know, too, I want to be first to get some decor for that bathroom in there, okay? All white walls, all right? I thought I was in an asylum.
Yeah, it's a little creepy, you're right.
No, I don't even buy anything yet. Don't take anything. I will take care of it for you.
Awesome.
Yep.
I like this.
Yes.
Are you going to make it creepier or less creepy?
No, it's going to be good.
Okay.
It'll match the rest of the house, I promise.
All right. That could go either way. So Brandon is here in the Soulless Studios to discuss Onscreen Firsts. He's probably the biggest cinephile and pop culture fan I know personally, so I figured I'd lean on his expertise for this topic. So when I asked you to join me on this topic, what was the first thing that came to mind?
Nothing, actually. I couldn't think of anything as far as movies, but I do remember in always thinking show Friends that I like to watch. If anybody knows me out there. But,
big fan.
But one of the seasons he says bitch, and Chandler calls somebody a bitch. I don't know. But I looked it up. I couldn't find anything about bitch. But after looking at a lot of your notes here, I tell you what, I'm probably wrong on that being the first bitch.
Yeah. Once the old the Hays Code got out of the way, a lot of firsts happened in a short time in the 60s and 70s. But yeah, isn't it weird how sometimes when you first hear something on TV, not bleeped, or for the first time it kind of strikes a chord, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that was early on too, you know. Yep, I was young at the time, but I feel like I watched a lot of TV my whole life.
Wasn't there the South Park where they said, what was the curse word? Was it shit? It was the first time they were allowed to say it, and they had the counter going.
I don't know either. I do remember the counter though.
Yeah, it was like a 2-part episode, and it was a curse word because it brought on a curse.
That was always after a certain time on Comedy Central. I think it was Comedy Central where they could actually play without beeping, right?
Yep.
There seemed to be no censorship.
Yeah, after midnight they would do some stand-ups or like the South Park movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, and even just now, being used to cable and then getting on something like Hulu, where now it's HBO Max, and watching South Park and having all that stuff not bleeped kind of gives it a different feel.
And growing up where I was, no cable out my way for very long. Always just old 3, 6, and 10. The occasional
Bunny
29, the occasional Fox I would get. I'd go outside, I'd turn the antenna, try to get it.
Yeah, I remember rushing home from school and trying to catch Tiny Toon Adventures on Fox 29.
Couldn't even get any of that.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Oh, no, I had PBS.
The horror.
There many tapes to watch. Many VHS.
Do you think that's maybe where your love of movies and stuff started?
Watching a repeat nonstop.
Yeah. All right, so what's your favorite on-screen first? I guess really the only one that came to mind was Bitch. So is that your favorite?
I guess it would have to be.
Okay. By default, this interview is going great. So me personally, I chose Farts because until I reheard George Carlin's 7 Words a bit recently, I never registered the lack of flatulence on TV or the big screen. But now it's glaringly obvious looking back. But it's not like flatulence hadn't been mentioned in art or literature before. In Francois Rabelais' Gargantua and Pantagruel, published in 1532, and widely considered the first fantasy novel, a giant rips one so powerful it creates actual little people.
Oh my lord.
Quote, but with the fart he blew the earth trembled for 27 miles round, and with the fetid air of it he engendered more than 53,000 little men, mishappen dwarfs, unquote. That's a powerful fart.
Amazing.
He made dwarves. It's a popular attraction in the day, Joseph Poohole, which is really ironic and hilarious. He lived from 1857 to 1945, and he made a living entertaining people with his bottom burps, taking the stage name Le Pedomane.
The man.
Yeah, which translates to fartomaniac. The Frenchman went on a perpetual tour, ass blowing out candles, ass playing the flute, and even ass smoking cigarettes. He could imitate barnyard animals. In tribute to the celebrated cheese cutter, Mel Brooks would later name one of his Blazing Saddle characters Governor William J. Le Pedomane.
That's one I have not really watched, though. Blazing Saddles, I've seen it, but don't really remember too much about it. I really need to go back.
Yeah, I watched it recently. It can be a little problematic with the racism, but I think the fun thing with Blazing Saddles is it was meant to bring all that stuff to light in that genre of westerns. So I think it was quite ahead of its time, and the humor is great, dude. So we'll get into Blazing Saddles a little later because it definitely brought one of the firsts. And yeah, I guess for a little while I avoided it, thinking it was problematic and maybe not worth watching because of the issues with racism and stuff. But then watching it and reading about it, I realized how intentional it was. I mean, Mel Brooks loved to play with those things.
Exactly. No, he had to, and just being a fan of comedy, he wasn't nothing, he was trying to be, words.
Pushing the boundaries.
That too, yep.
Trying to be... Yeah, we both suck at words. But people who don't suck at words, Shakespeare, Mark Twain, James Joyce, all made fart jokes. Probably the 20th century's best and most enduring fart joke, the whoopee cushion, was invented in 1930. Yet, something people do an average of 14 times a day didn't make it to the big screen until the 70s. The farts of the Blazing Saddles campfire scene were louder and more famous, but Hollywood's ass-wind barrier was broken 3 years earlier by Norman Lear in a little-seen 1971 film called Cold Turkey, starring Dick Van Dyke, Bob Newhart, and the by-then elderly Edward Everett Horton, who dealt the flatulence in question. Generally attributed as the first barking spider on the big screen, Burt Gilliam's air biscuit in the 1974 film Blazing Saddles paved the way for the crass fart humor of the 80s, 90s, and beyond. He's quite proud that the studio didn't need to add any sound effects in post. The Flufferdoodle was censored when it was aired on television, however.
I love the Flufferdoodle.
Right?
Very nice. Who's not good with words? Shakespeare, if I don't know.
Modern day poetry.
Movie wise, as far as a whoopee cushion, two things with Leslie Nielsen in The Naked Gun.
Ooh.
One of my favorite fart scenes growing up. I had it on tape, watched it in that basement a lot in my life there. Naked Gun, one of my favorites.
Yeah.
He goes in the back, they're at a press conference. Goes into the bathroom, leaves his mic on, urinating, humming while he's urinating. Longest pee, one of those long pees, comedy pees. But also gets a good rip, cuts to him, and he's got his arms stretched out. Big rip right in front of everybody in the press conference. His mic is on.
That's great.
He is on Conan O'Brien, one of the Conan O'Brien's early shows. And he comes on, and he just crosses his legs as he says something, and sure, he has, speaking of whoopee cushion, a tiny little fart machine. I forget who gave it to him, but it was somebody who gave him that on the golf course.
Nice.
And
sure, there's a good story there.
Kept it in handy. Always kept it handy.
I had one of those electronic ones in high school. Now that you mentioned it, I forgot all about that, dude. That was awesome. So I found in my research that Adam McKay is a bit of a film fart aficionado. I read a Newsweek article where he was interviewed on the topic, which is it's great. It's hilarious. He even cites foreign fart jokes, mentioning an Italian movie. I wanted to share this bit with you. He said one of the deleted bits in Talladega Nights involved a down-and-out feral trying to please his mom by farting the phrase, "I love you." Quote, "It was one of the funniest scenes we shot," recalls McKay. "When we showed it to a test audience, it got some laughs, but not enough. If you're going to do a fart joke, it's got to be fantastic." End quote. And he also mentioned his favorite fart gag was from Parks and Rec, when Jerry farted during a heart attack, and everyone kept referring to it as a fart attack. Like, oh, their friend is dying, but they can't get over the fart. It was actually pretty tough to track down the first TV blow-off, but as far as I can tell, that honor, not surprisingly, goes to Benny Hill. He seems to have pioneered and perfected fart humor in the 60s. He plowed many a path in comedy, but he was also working in the relative freedom of British television. On American TV, fart jokes and audible flatulence is more obscure. One notable one I found came way later than Benny Hill and spoke to a much different audience. In 1998, Sex and the City saw stylish Carrie Bradshaw accidentally farting in bed with Mr. Big in an episode called The Drought. The episode opened a dialogue on two formerly taboo butt vapors: women's farts and passing wind in relationships, especially that first, sometimes unintended, stinky elephant in the room.
Man.
Remember, you have any notable relationship farts?
No. Sorry. Didn't bring much to this show. Boy.
Didn't take notes on your partner's farts? Next time. The podcast for a different day. No. So, like, in pop culture, I remember this guy in the 90s, Mr. Methane, who's kind of like that French guy, Mr. Poohole. And I think I remember seeing him on the Howard Stern show. And my dad used to watch like clips of him and giggle endlessly. And he would like light his farts on fire. He would put baby powders on his bum and then like fart a little cloud. He could play songs. It was pretty impressive.
I've got to look this up. I don't know much about this Mr. Methane. I don't remember. I remember listening to a lot of Howard Stern when I was younger. 94.1.
Yeah.
SP back in the day.
Yeah, man. He was definitely an entertainer. He was funny. But I think him and Le Petamane, they both had a unique ability to be able to suck air or water in. I don't think that everyone can do it, but they found their niche and they capitalized on it. It's pretty hilarious.
As far as video games, I remember I had a game on SNES. That is it's a Super Nintendo.
For those not in the know.
Yeah. I'm old. Booger Man. Booger